Breaking news, Tyler Shough is officially the starter for the New Orleans Saints. Here's everything you need to know for the direction of this team and your fantasy teams. There's a pretty big elephant in the room with Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Alvin Kamara. That November 4th trade deadline is coming pretty fast, and it seems like it would benefit the Saints in the long run to move off at least one of them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara, and Chris Olave get traded, but I'll tell you what, I think it's more likely they get traded now that they made a quarterback change. A quarterback change is the biggest signal you'll probably ever get for a pivot or a new era beginning. Knowing that a trade is a little more likely, at least seemingly in our eyes, there's three outcomes here. Number one is that everybody stays. No New Orleans Saint gets traded, and if you have them on your fantasy team, in my opinion, their value doesn't change that much. Outcome number two is the fantasy player that you have, whether it be Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, or Chris Olave, does get traded. Chances are that bumps up their stock unless they're going to a bad team or a bad offense. I don't think bad teams, bad offenses will be trying to trade for these guys right now, though. Then outcome three, which I think is very overlooked in this whole situation. The New Orleans Saint that you have on your fantasy team does not get moved, but somebody else does, like an Alvin Kamara or a Chris Olave. Their value goes up. So mathematically, there's two options where the fantasy player I have probably improves, and there's one option where he probably decreases, doesn't get better, or even just stays the same. Why would you get rid of him if two of three options are they get better? Now, I will say, with Chris Olave specifically, it's a little less linear because he's second in the NFL, about 10 targets a game with Rattler at quarterback. We don't know how much that is going to change if that does change with Shough. Does Rattler love throwing the ball? Is Olave just that good? We don't know. And I will say it's more likely that they don't get traded, so people who are trying to capitalize on a potential trade may be buying them a little bit higher. But if you don't like the price, don't feel bad keeping a New Orleans Saint right now.